anybody claiming educated in Nigeria where there is no good road. Do you know what they call rented people? Educated people stay in a country where there is a lot of digital development. Everybody in this country is illiterate.
Why I support Odumeje? Education is an instrument of transformation. Education is an instrument of revolution. Education is an instrument of liberty. Education is an instrument that empowers the people to free themselves from ignorance, from mediocrity, from backwardness, from all sorts of despondency that Nigerians have been trapped. So if there is an educated population, if there are people who claim to be educated, who claim to have attained the highest cadre of learning, and yet their own society and their own country is trapped in a mess, is in the state of despondency, is the state of disillusionment, is in the state of backwardness, and there is no any record of development. In such society, the governments are not held accountable. They are not responsible for themselves and being committed to the welfare of the citizens. Rather, they impoverish the people and make them more vulnerable, of course, and endanger their very existence. Such society is an illiterate society, is a backward society, as rightly submitted by Odumeje. He said there is no educated person, no educated professor in Nigeria. What we have is a bunch of illiterate entities who has no impact or no negative impact or positive impact rather on their own society. You said you are a professor and you are still in bondage. You are still held under bondage, disillusion, under a society where it is only the touts, it is only those who are not learned, it is only those who lack character, of course, and the aim of affairs, are the ones representing the people. It's quite unfortunate, and this such society, of course, we trapped in a mess. That is the position of Odumeje, which I subscribe, and honestly, I do agree with him. Education should mean freedom. Education should mean enlightenment, to liberate yourself from the shackles of ignorance, from the shackles of deception, from the shackles of disillusionness. And that is not the case with the Nigerian professors or those who claim to have attained the highest cadre of learning, of course, of professorship or whatever you call them. It is the reality staring at us where you see, you can imagine that the government of the day, the Attorney General, with due respect, said he's not aware of the trial of Mazin Nnamdi Kanu, that it has not come to his knowledge. Well, whatever be the case, it's only the lawyers or the court that will decide his fate. Which of the court will decide the fate of Mazin Nnamdi Kanu? Is it within the Nigerian legal jurisprudence? Nigeria have lost its right, of course, to try a man who the rendition violated his international rights and that cannot in any way try such persons. Which of the law is the Attorney General referring to try Mazin Nnamdi Kanu? Is it not a consonant, of course, with the provisions of the Constitution which he presides as the Attorney General? Section 2, subsection 3F, as rightly, of course, argued in the Nigerian court by the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mazin Nnamdi Kanu, that the court has lost its rights, its legal rights, and very essence to try him. Because any further attempt to try Mazin Nnamdi Kanu amounts to the act of terrorism, of course, endangering his life or his fundamental right. You have lost the entire right, of course, to try over his case. Which of the court is he referring to that will decide the fate of a man who is innocent, a man who is presumed innocent, a man whose rights have been violated, who, on the principles of justice, fairness, and equity? I think the Attorney General should obtain that resignation from this moment. That is my humble opinion. Because you cannot say a man who, unfortunately, was rendition. You broke the treaty between international treaty, and of course, and think you can still tie a man. Oh, that is quite unfortunate. It's just like beating a child and telling that child to remain silent, not to cry. It is quite unacceptable. Well, that is coming from the position of the Attorney General. I do agree with Odumeje when he says that Nigerian professors, learned, acclaimed learned fellows are not learned. They don't understand the literate. They don't understand the intent of within the context of what the word learned means. It implies liberty. It implies mental liberation. It implies, of course, the ability to decide without being influenced by other external forces, to be able to make judgments, the right judgments at all times, without fear or favor. But the case is not what we are seeing today. No wonder Odumeje, of course, blasted the professors Woyinka and the likes, that they are not in touch with the reality. You can't claim to be professor where your own people are stuck in the wheel of motionless despair, poverty, agony. Of course, in the last 1 year has become something unimaginable. The level of agony, pains, and sufferings Nigerians have been subjected to is something that no one can ever imagine or wish his enemy. But that is the reality, and that is the fate of any Nigerian or anyone resident within this contraption. And yet you claim to be a professor. What has the impact of your professorship made to the society today? You have professors who are riggers of election, who aid in rigging of election, in exam malpractices and all that. It is quite unfortunate. This is the story of the Nigerian state. This is the story of the professors within Nigeria. I'm not saying that there are not, of course, sound intellectuals who has the moral character and credibility. But unfortunately, such people are not being given the opportunity, of course, to serve. They have been silenced. They have lost their voice. They are not free to express themselves. They have lost the liberty that education, of course, brings to fore. So can you say that you're a professor and you have lost your liberty within the Nigerian state? You cannot come to challenge the government because of fear of being killed. Most of them, of course, are not coming with clean hands. They have soiled their hands. They have indicted themselves, and of course, their records before the very government, which can pick them up anytime. So if you have compromised, if you have taken bribe, if you have embezzled money that is meant, of course, under your control, you have no right, you have lost their right of voice to challenge the government. Most of them are not even better off than those who are in the helm of affairs. It's quite unfortunate, but that is the reality. So Odumeje was absolutely right, because you can't say you are learned when you are still trapped in the quagmire, when you are still under the bondage of mediocrity, you are still under the bondage of illiteracy, under the bondage of tribal and religious or social or cultural sentiments. Professors are people who have transcended, have got beyond all these bigotries and sentiments and resentment. Those who can stand to tell the truth, who have attained the highest altitude in life and honor, and who can defend themselves, who, of course, prefer value and a good name other than riches and slivers or gold. But that is not the case with Nigeria. You saw a professor who cannot even articulate just a simple arithmetic or simple add-up calculations of the results of the elections, but was, of course, used as an instrument, of course, to subvert the will of the people. And today, Nigeria is plunged into just abysmal decline. And today, people are crying. 1 year of sufferance is assumed to be a 20 years backward, 20 years of agony and pain. Odumeje was absolutely right when he made such submissions. I want to know what is your own reaction regarding this, but that is the reality, nothing but the truth. Politically, logically, it is fantastically correct. Those who claim to be professors who cannot come to say the truth, just as Woloteika said, he is going to assess this government after 1 year. While we are waiting, we have seen nothing on the basis of quitting. Will assess the country. The vote already is passed. The vote of no confidence, of course, by the people. The lamenting and agony, of course, reading masses are counting their losses, of course, having no hope, of course, in the midst of the renewed hope. They said it's a renewed hope of suffering, agony, and pain. It's quite unfortunate, but that is the reality. Nigerians don't have educated professors. We have, of course, what's an illiterate society, an illiterate, of course, a state where people have deprived the right, the very right of humanity and the essence of humanity. It's missing. There's no one to bridge the gap. Not even those who call themselves professors or those who are within the ruling class. They have found humanity, and today humanity has been plunged into abysmal decline. And the life or living conditions of average Nigerians is nothing to write home about. Of recent, in the past, of course, in recent past, they said that Nigerians are living below poverty line. Now Nigerians are living inside of poverty, not even below poverty line. Poverty has swallowed every essence of existence. Not even today, how many millions of Nigerians that can boast of a standard meal is tired, it's quite unfortunate on a daily basis. These are the sad realities today. So Odumeje is very right. Education should mean enlightenment, to mean development, to mean being articulative, responsible, and accountable. But that is not the case within the Nigerian state. Well, I leave you with this provoking thought. Let me have your reactions and response via the comment section until I come your way in the next edition. We are here, of course, giving in-depth analysis and interactions as it borders on matters of interest and, of course, on our existence as a people. Remember, blessed, the main Chigos and the host anchor. Wishing you the best of the week ahead. Bye for now. Don't forget to hit the subscription button, give us thumbs up, share this video, and let it go viral. Bye for now.